Izzy, were you watching Rockets versus Suns last night?
I watched some of it. I was flipping between games. I got about a half of that game, I would say.
Did you see Steven Adams and Mason Plumlee get caught up?
I did. I thought it was hilarious.
It's funny because I know what Steven Adams was trying to do. He's trying to do the like, I'm just walking away thing, but he puts his arms underneath Mason Plumlee's armpits and then proceeds to pick him up. I don't know if people caught that. Yeah. Do you know how insanely strong your forearms have to be to pick up a 7-footer by the armpits using your forearms and not your hands?
Steven Adams is an animal. I'm telling you. When you saw Mason Plumlee like try to box out, check him, and Steven didn't move, you know what else is crazy? Mason Plumlee, 4 years older than Steven Adams.
Really?
35 years old. Steven Adams, only 31.
He's 31?
31. Man's been around forever.
Whoa, welcome to Oddball. It's Thursday. That means it's TGI Thursday. That's what I'm going to call this from now on. TGI Thursday. Because we don't do Fridays. I don't know if you guys noticed or not. Izzy, great games in the association last night. I wasn't at one. I was at the Clippers Heat, but there were, I heard, great games.
The Zubats game, I heard.
Oh,
it was
God.
Great.
It was like Shaq last night.
What was the good game last night? It was Celtics-Thunder, right? And Thunder took down the Celtics. I mean, it was 108, 112. The game was tied 98-98, and then the Thunder suffocated the Celtics. And look, fourth quarters have been a problem for the Celtics lately. And OKC doesn't seem to have a problem in the fourth quarter. I'm not sure where you want to start here, but let's start with the finish, because that is the time of the game where things get tight, if you will, and the times where you expect a champion to know where they're going with this, right? But they have a fouled out Jalen Brown. They have a Jason Tatum, who everybody questions all the time. And then you've got somebody on the other side doing exactly what you need somebody on the Celtics to do. So it was a pretty damning last 4 minutes for Boston.
Yeah. By the way, that tweet talking about the Celtics net rating over the last 10 games, minus 27.8, that's 29th in the NBA, comes from Sam LaFrance, at Sam LaFrance NBA. And I'm just like, isn't that LaMelo Ball's middle name? Remember? LaFrance. Remember he had the LF logo on, and they're like, no, that's a brand name. He said, no, it's from my middle name and whatever. Yeah. So I wonder if that's a bot, Sam LaFrance. Doesn't sound real. But, you know, the like seeing that set is staggering. Like you could tell me, hey, the Celtics have been struggling in the fourth quarters. You can't tell me they're outscored by damn near 28 points per 100 possessions in 4 quarters. That's preposterous. That is the land of wizards and hornets, not defending champions. I'm sure, though, Joe Mazzulla has some like pithy response, like, I like it. It gives us like some things to think about. Whatever. Shut up.
Did you feel like they were playing? Because we talked about it before the game, that I thought the Celtics would bring out some of their best, at least defensive strategy against these guys. And I felt like, and maybe this is a little bit of Joe Mazzulla, like, look, these guys got to make the damn finals before we give them our best stuff. Like, we're only going to meet them if they make it all the way through the Western Conference. We've been there a couple of times. Let them get there. We'll show them our best stuff when we see them, if we see them.
But the Lakers, they got great stuff from in the Laker game. I don't know why that was the game they got up for. And last night, I take it back. Like, from what I saw, I didn't watch the whole game, but from what I saw, it felt like a competitive game. There were things in there that had me questioning. Towards the end of the third quarter, there was like 3 or 4 possessions in a row where they had Drew Holiday on the floor. They had Jalen Brown on the floor, albeit he had some foul trouble. And they were like, Peyton Pritchard, you guard the MVP. They had him on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I'm like, this is torture. This is not right. What are they doing?
Look, I don't really get some of the things that Boston does, and maybe it's a Joe Mazzulla thing, and maybe it's like I said, they're just showing regular season stuff. But the like, was it 50-some 3-pointers? Where there was a stretch where they had like 20, I think in the first quarter had 20-some 3-pointers. This isn't, like, this is crazy to say. This isn't the way that the only way they win, is it? Like, is it just raining threes?
Dude.
Because they've gotten so, like, used to that. We've gotten so used to them, to seeing that. They've gotten so used to doing it. It feels like there's no other option, because when they're not falling, it's like, what are we doing?
Here's the crazy part. We both know, looking at the personnel on that team, of course there are other options, but that's how they've chosen to play. They've hung their hat on that. It's worked for them for the better part of 2 years now, maybe even more, 3 years. If you got 3 years under Joe Mazzulla of really ratcheting it up. And we all do the same thing. It's like, when it's not falling, it's like, Go inside. Go get something going towards the basket. Go
That's
get
not
fouled.
their answers. Just shoot more.
They just shoot more. They try to shoot through it.
And it's kind of that accidental basketball that people talk about. It's just get in the lane somehow. Oh, kick it out. Somebody will be open.
And by the way, we have to also call it for what it is. They're excellent at that. Correct. Forget about making the shots. And as far as penetrating and then swing to the open guy, they do that better than every other team, I would say, in the league. But it's, as we said, if it ends with a missed three-pointer, as it did much of last night, they shot 30% from three, I believe, on 60-plus attempts.
Yeah.
Something crazy. So this is my question to you, Izzy. This was billed as a possible finals preview. And I think we're both on the same page. Like, yeah, this could be the finals. But if the NBA finals is this team shoots a ton of threes and that's it. And then the other side is this team basically begs to get to the free throw line every possession.
And we should mention Kristaps Porziņģis not in the game. Jalen Williams not in the game.
We'll get to that. Okay. But I'm just saying stylistically,
man, this is worse than the Thunder Cavs projected finals because it is exactly what you said. It's just like, if you think there's a problem with the NBA, if you think the NBA has a problem, I don't really need to know what your take is. I guarantee you it's somewhere in this series.
Yeah,
it's either the people who are getting to the foul line too much, throwing their bodies everywhere, or it's the people who are just shooting a bunch of threes when they have, I don't know, all the world players like Jason Tatum telling you, I'm great. I should be the face of the league. And all he's doing is just chucking up threes and just waiting and doesn't really create at all. It's just not very aesthetically pleasing. And that's why last night, to me, I was watching the first quarter. I was locked in and I was like, is it the opposite, locked out? I got locked out in the second quarter. I switched over to Rockets. I switched over to other games. And then I just sort of came back for the ending once I saw it was still tied.
Well, this is what I'll say. It was, from what I saw, again, I didn't watch the whole game because I was at Clippers Heat watching Zubac be like
Huge
Shaq.
Game.
Yeah. But it was compelling basketball. It's just when it doesn't work, right? So, the most uncompelling basketball obviously is the All-Star game because there is no resistance. Mm-hmm. And so anything you do, I don't care how many points you score, without resistance, it's made null. But when there is resistance, for all the people who complain about the Celtics, dude, when you watch the Celtics, when they're on, it's fun, dude.
Yeah.
It's a fun style of play. Similarly for Oklahoma City, when they are getting field goals made and not necessarily just getting to the free throw line, it's fun basketball. So I think if these two teams are playing well and defending well, but the offense is overcoming the defense, then I think it'll be a great NBA Finals. If it's the base version of it, or it's like these guys keep shooting threes even though they're breaking, and these guys just keep going to the line over and over again. But I still think you're
talking in terms of basketball heads. Like those people will be because
I think the casuals,
the average fan. Look, we're talking about the stars on each of these teams. Jason Tatum, who's basically crying everywhere you hear and saying, "Oh, why I should be face of the league? Why don't people love me more?" And you've got SGA over here, who's better than Anthony Edwards. But who's getting all the love, right? So I sometimes say to myself, look, I don't need to know the why. Maybe it's something that their basketball is just not aesthetically pleasing. Maybe it's their personalities. I don't know what. But the viewing audience is not embracing you like that. And so when you get to a finals where that's the two stars in the matchup, the viewing audience is not going to suddenly say, oh, if they play their best, they're going to be great. I'm going to love this. They're going to be like, oh, okay, we've seen what they has to offer. Not really for me.
So really quick, last night, no Porziņģis for the Celtics, no Jalen Williams for the Thunder. Which one was the more impactful
for this game? Or I would say, if it's projecting, I would say it's probably KP, just because of what he does underneath the rim. Less time for Luke Cornett, which is somebody that you don't think should be getting heavy minutes in a high level series.
It boggles my mind that he's getting rotation minutes
and in this matchup right here, if you got SGA working in the mid range, like KP can definitely bother him there some. So I think Jalen Williams, while he is an all-star, they have so many complementary pieces to SGA that it's a little bit of a plug and play scenario.
I wonder in the playoffs though, obviously it's not deemed to be a serious injury, but in the playoffs, if you take him off the board, does it make life infinitely harder for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? And for all that foul merchant talk that we talk about, we know NBA referees on average call less fouls in the playoffs than they do in the regular season. Mm-hmm. They're going to make you earn it. You're like, look, we're not just going to bail you out here. So to me, I like Jalen Williams being the only real playmaker from the perimeter that they have outside SGA. I think he's really important, but I agree with you. Again, the Thunder at the very least say, well, we got all these other guys who are not as good as him, but really decent. And the Celtics are like, Luke Cornett.
Yeah. And, Al Horford, which, by the way, and I think it was Cassidy who did a good report yesterday on Al Horford and how well he maintains his body and everything else. And I was just like, all right, I got to stop giving that guy a hard time for being old because he's like LeBron James in the way he takes care of himself.
Yeah, and he's 100 years old, but he looks good for
101 this year.
All right, so the other big game of last night was the Knicks and the Blazers. I know what you're thinking. What?
Right, no, only by ending, not by reputation.
No, it was by pregame and end of game. The game in the middle, nobody cares about. But the game, let's start with the end. Mikal Bridges had a crazy buzzy beater in overtime to lead the Knicks past the Blazers 114 and 113. There were 42 lead changes. That's the second most in the tracking era. The only one more than that was Nets Hawks from a couple of years ago that ended 114 and 113 on a buzzer beater by
Mikal Bridges.
How crazy is that? But that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is before the game, because Mikal Bridges spoke to reporters about wanting Thibs to give starters fewer minutes, saying, quote, "Sometimes it's not fun on the body. We've got a lot of good guys on this team that can take away minutes. Sometimes I think Thibs just gets in his way and he gets locked in." And so Thibs was asked to respond to these comments. This is before the game. This is what he had to say.
Your wings play more, right? So they're matched up with primary scorers. So the way it works is if Jason Tatum is in the game and Jalen Brown is in the game, OG will be in the game and Mikal will be in the game. When those guys go out, they go out. When they come back, they come back. You try to keep the matchups. If LeBron's on the floor for 40 minutes, the guy who's guarding him is going to be on the floor for 40 minutes. Right? That's the way this works.
Right. He also said in the beginning of that sound right before we heard it was that Brunson and Towns are like 20th and 21st or something like that. They're not in the top 20 in minutes played. So that's proof that he doesn't just wear people out. Izzy, your response?
Pretty sure Towns is up there. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. I'm not going to lie. Like, I like Tom Thibodeau and everything else, but I've covered the league for 25 years now. Never have I heard wings play more. Like, that's not just, you know what I mean?
Now.
Well, they do, but look, here's the thing. He's working against his own interest here because if you win in the margins in the NBA, right? Mm-hmm. And he plays his best players a little bit more, shouldn't they be winning every damn game? Shouldn't they be the number one seed? And then what happens when the other teams start to play their players more? When does that happen? I mean,
in the playoffs.
In the playoffs.
Yeah.
So then it evens things out a little bit more. And then you're not you're not matching what the other team is bringing. Like, how can you not have the self-awareness to recognize this is my one thing? I'm a one-trick pony as a coach. I can coach a regular season team to wins, but I wear them the hell out and I don't get the best of them in the playoffs.
I see what he's saying. He's like, if they've got their best players out there, I'm trying to have my best defenders out there. I understand that. My counterpoint to Thibs would be you are making a false dichotomy. You're assuming that if I don't play Mikal and OG, then I got to play Izzy Gutierrez and Amin Al-Hassan. And then we're going to get killed, right? then we're going to get killed, right? And I think what Mikal is saying is like, no, we have good guys on this bench too. You need to start trusting these guys. And we've seen it from Greg Popovich. We've seen it from Steve Kerr. We've seen it from Eric Spoelstra. Part of this is like fostering an environment where you develop guys and give them an opportunity so that they're not getting turned to in the playoffs because somebody got hurt. All right, we got to go to Hot Potato.
My favorite.
Yeah. Welcome back to Oddball, and it's time to put, man, we haven't played this game in a while. We've only played it once. I love this game.
Oh.
I love this game. This is our send up of the SNL Weekend Update. It's called Hot Potato. That's right. This is where we've each written hot takes for the other person to defend. Neither of us know what take we're about to.
I'm so nervous right now.
Dude. So what we're going to do now is we'll deliver the take, and then we're going to have a minute of cross-examination that follows that. And when the timer's up, we'll hear this sound. Is that the hot sound that we just heard? Sure. And then we'll move on. Izzy, are you ready?
I think so.
Oh, man, this is going to be...
Spiritually.
I had fun writing mine. I don't know about you. I had fun writing mine.
All right. Who goes first?
We'll see. What do you got?
All right.
Ja will never make another All-Star game. Look, Ja Morant, great player. Ja Morant also injured a lot. Sits out a lot of games, right? There's a lot of great players in the Western Conference, particularly at the guard position. Ja is always going to be a step behind there in terms of like games played and also getting the credit he deserves for the success of the team. The other part of this, let's be honest, the league has a bias against Ja Morant because of that whole pew pew thing that happened before. And so now he's got to do leaps and bounds to overcome these old crotchety coaches who are like, Ja, we don't like you.
Isn't the league about reclamation projects, about second chances, about great stories? Like if he has one down year like he's having and then continues the trend of his previous parts of his career where he was increasing his scoring numbers, how could you possibly say he'll never make another All-Star?
Because the league is about reclamation projects on a surface level, but they're not actually about reclaiming you. They want to put you in the radioactive pile over here unless you overcome and you're just incredible, right? Like if he's MVP caliber, if he's putting up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander numbers, then maybe, right? But I don't think he's going to do that because you know what? The Grizzlies play a team game. They don't overly rely on any one person because of the contributions of everybody else. It becomes more balanced. And as a result, even though Ja is incredible, his numbers a little muted.
If he never makes another All-Star game, his entire career will be about pew, pew, pew.
Hot.
All right, that was pretty good.
All right, let's see. Okay.
Not bad. I
Okay.
think I might have taken it easy on you on the first one.
Sure. I did the same thing.
Okay.
Take a look at it.
All right. Miami has tuned out Eric Spoelstra, so it's time for a new head coach. Look, man, I think eventually all coaches, their voice just runs out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it runs out of strength. It doesn't have any meaning, right? Like everything that Eric Spoelstra has done, he's in reruns for. Like the whole argument with Jimmy Butler. Is somebody going to argue with him again? And it's like, oh, he's just going to do the thing where he like gives him his playbook and just like walks away. Like I think he's tried everything in the book with this team, whether it's a LeBron James team, whether it's a Dwayne Wade team, or whether it's a Jimmy Butler team. And I think you already have Jeff Teague talking about, oh, the Miami Heat needs to break down the whole organization. Yeah, he's not that far away. And Eric Spoelstra is the place to start. If you're bringing in a whole new group, how is that new group just going to create Heat culture again? No. And Eric Spoelstra is not going to do it. Come on. He's clearly got to go.
Let's start the cross-examination. Start that timer. Izzy, I don't know. I mean, I would look at it and say, man, it's like the front office is really filled. Spo's doing the best that he can, but, they're giving him groceries and asking him to...
Is he doing the best that he can? Look at all the teams around the league that have an all-star and then maybe another fringe all-star and tell me that they're not doing better than the Miami Heat. Look at the Indiana Pacers. They've got Pascal Siakam, an all-star, and Tyrese Halliburton almost playing like an all-star. They're pretty good. Top 6 in the East. Miami's dropping in the other direction. Who's the great coach there?
I'd say both of the players there are better than any of the players on the Miami Heat.
Wow. I just read an article where Bam Adebayo seemingly top 2 in Defensive Player of the Year favorites. Okay, still.
Yeah.
And you've got an all-star in Tyler Hero. How's that not?
I don't think
this is clearly falling on
I think Tyler Hero is a paper championship guy or paper all-star. He's not really an all-star. And by the way, he's been playing like since the all-star break. No, he's the Andrew Wiggins all-star. That's who he is. That's who he is. Guess who Andrew Wiggins plays for? The Miami Heat. And somehow this is Spo's job to fix?
100%. Steve Kerr got an all-star season out of Andrew Wiggins.
All right, we got to move on.
Whew.
What's
Heart's
next?
beating 100 miles an hour here. Sorry, Spo.
Cat is a proven playoff weapon and will lead the Knicks to a championship.
What are you laughing about?
I'm laughing. You'll find out in a little bit. Yeah, you know what? Guess what? The Knicks offensively last year were moribund. Sure, Jalen Brunson's awesome, but they really had to scratch and claw to win every game. And guess where that landed them? Hurt, injured, broken. In comes Karl Anthony Towns. He averages, 25 and 12 or something abnormal like that. He's one of the best shooters, not one of the best big man shooters, one of the best shooters from beyond the arc that we have in the league. And he has been the offensive stalwart for this team, not Jalen Brunson. It's Jalen Brunson who is benefiting from Karl Anthony Towns' gravity rather than the other way around.
Start that timer, because how would you explain the foul trouble this man gets into every single playoff game?
He tries hard. You know what? I remember a time when guys played hard and tried hard, and now we're like, oh, I'm worried about foul trouble. I'm going to play. Look, this dude leaves it all out there. He's passionate. He's Dominican. You should know that. As another Dominican.
I do know that he's Dominican, yes.
So why are you doubting this guy? And also, by the way, everyone's like, oh, Jalen Brunson leads the league in clutch points. You know why? Because someone's been carrying this thing for 3.5 quarters, and that someone is named Karl Anthony Towns.
I would try to drop an oh my God, but I can't do it as well as Karl Anthony Towns. So you're saying that he is carrying the Knicks only to leave Jalen Brunson with the crumbs in the fourth quarter. So you're saying that all the evidence that we have of him only getting out of the first round the one time and all the horrible performances that he's had and the nervous look that he has on his face all the time, that is going to go away the further the Knicks get into the playoffs.
Look, I'm not here to talk about Minnesota. Here it's a Knicks.
Hot.
I'll take it.
You have sold nobody. Whew.
Okay.
The Celtics will lose in the first round if they have to play against the Atlanta Hawks. Listen, my guy, Trae Young, might be the most underrated player, wait for it, of all time.
Whoa.
Of all time. This man leading the league in assists. The guy gets to his spots better than anybody else in the league. The guy makes great or strong players out of everybody around him, okay? And I'll tell you what the Boston Celtics are afraid of. They're afraid of toughness. They're afraid of swag. They're afraid of aura. Okay. And Trae has those things, man. Trae will go into Boston Garden and just be the next. That's right. I said the next player to go and dominate them in the Garden and embarrass them the same way Jimmy Butler has done. Trae is so perfectly set up for this. He's just looking at the wrong opponent. He's obsessed with the Knicks. It's all about the Boston Celtics. They are set up for him to take them down.
Start that damn timer. You must be out of your mind, man. So first and foremost, okay, you just sold me on Trae Young. What about the other 14 guys?
Sure, let me start with Dyson Daniels, by the way, who will lock up whoever is deciding to go off for the Celtics,
They've
whether it be
got 4
Jason
dudes.
Tatum. Come on, let's be real. They run isolation. There's one guy just creating and then spraying it out for everybody else. That one guy will get locked the fuck up. And in fact, Dyson might average like 4 steals per game.
Okay, what about the size discrepancy? You got Porziņģis up front. You got Al Horford.
Don't say Porziņģis and size in the same sentence unless you're saying that he doesn't really play that way. Like, I get he blocks some shots, but come on. You can bully that dude inside. You can move him around inside.
Who bullied him last year?
Well,
Nobody.
No. Look at the path that they took to the
Bam.
finals.
Yeah, he played against Bam. He played against...
Who's the guy who says Bam is not tough enough a lot of the time, no? Don't you say Bam doesn't really throw his weight around enough? I'm telling you, this one's clear and easy. Like the Hawks and Celtics, they didn't they go 7 rounds? They went 7 games rather with the Hawks in the year in 2008 when they won a championship.
Yeah, okay.
Like they're scared to death of the Hawks.
Thank you for going
Hawks,
back to
Heat, similar.
Joe Johnson and Paul Pierce.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to that series.
Trae Young has had a bigger cultural impact than Allen Iverson. God,
wow, that's crazy. Take by you,
look,
bro.
we live in a different time now. We all have these little computers at our beck and call, and these computers are sending us messages constantly, right? The culture doesn't control the culture anymore. The algorithms control the culture. And I submit to you that the algorithms, based on sales and data and all this stuff, are selling us Trae Young in a way that we never got sold Allen Iverson in the same way, because the establishment wasn't behind Allen Iverson like that. His was organic. Trae Young, it's like a chip in our brain. They want us to do this. They need us to do this. And so we do it, and we don't even know it's happening.
What has the chip in your brain told you about Trae Young's hair? There's a style that people are copying the way Allen Iverson?
Well, the chip in my brain is telling me that his hair has actually gotten a lot better. Some are speculating, not me, but some are speculating, perhaps a trip, maybe to Istanbul, maybe Ankara, maybe one of those cities around there.
So he's a man of the people.
Yeah, and if you see more and more every day, at least according to my TikTok algorithm, because I don't know, it's just random, but I seem to get a lot of stuff about hair transplants in Turkey and what are the procedures and like how long the recovery time is, and can I do it and not look as bad because I'm on camera a lot, and so I don't have to wear a hat all the time. You know what?
Personal. Have you ever seen his signature shoe? Neither have I.
It's a Jordan brand.
No,
I think it was Adidas.
It's 3 stripes.
No, it's not Adidas
I don't
anymore.
even know.
I don't know either. Oh, hot. All right, give me
This
another
case
one.
is closed.
Give me another one. Give him another one. Give him another one.
Wow, Cat was the real MVP of the Timberwolves. They should have traded Ant instead. I mean, you're throwing these softballs at me, man. Look, have we not seen where this league is going? It's going big. Look at Nikola Jokic. Look at Joel Embiid. Like, it's the return of the big man. I mean, if SGA wins the MVP this year, it's a joke. It should go to Jokic. Of course, Karl Anthony Towns. Could you imagine the Twin Towers him and Rudy Gobert would have been if they just focused on them instead of giving this kid, Ant-Man, the ball because he can jump? Like, this is clearly... the best three-pointing big man ever.
Hold on.
Three-point shooting big man ever.
What happened to he's all terrified all the time and he fouls too much in the playoffs?
That wasn't me. That was an attorney you were speaking to. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's going to do it for Oddball. We need like this thing to be a 15-minute segment. right? Like
I could pretty much go on all day. I'm a little disappointed. I thought you were going to give me some tougher ones. My stomach was nervous.
I thought the cat one was a really good one.
I thought it was too easy. It was too easy. Your cat one was a little bit more difficult.
Okay.
Way to stick up for Trae Young, by the way.
Oh, it's easy. It's the computers and the algorithms and this hat that I'm wearing.
How do we both have the same ideas?